Hello, and welcome to The More You NoCo, a podcast about the people, ideas, and community of Northern Colorado. I'm your host, Ivan Wayne. Let's get to it. On this episode, I met Aaron Heaton, the co-founder and business manager of Grimm Brothers Brewing in Loveland. He was nice enough to meet with me at the end of his Friday, right before the weekend. Hope you enjoy. Cheers. All right, cheers.
Prost.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Sit here in the office of Aaron Heaton. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Owner, co-founder, business manager of Grimm Brothers Brewing. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I couldn't help but peek from the website that you are from Brighton, Colorado.
That's right. Both myself and Don, who's my co-founder, co-owner, we're both from Colorado. So grew up there. He was in Delta. So yeah.
Where's Delta?
Up in the hills, not quite to Grand Junction, but just on your way to Grand Junction.
Oh, okay. And are you both here like on a daily basis? Or?
Yeah, Don's kind of part-time right now. He's got another gig that he does engineering-wise, just to pay for the bills. But I am here 60 to 80 hours a week. So.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Still, after you guys opened in 2010?
2010, yeah. We just had our 8th anniversary in July. Had a real fun time with that. We released 8 different new beers as well, all fruit-based. So that was a lot of fun just to have those different beers available. So
yeah, that's cool. So you born and raised in Brighton,
mm-hmm.
and then I stole from the interwebs.
Yeah.
So you went to CSU,
right.
Colorado State.
Went to CSU, graduated in 2001 with an economics degree and a minor in history.
Okay, cool. So in the middle of that, what did you think you were going to do with that?
Really, it was kind of funny. My brother, he got a degree in physical therapy, and he got into the finance world. So I was really hoping to get into the finance world as well, doing stocks, bonds, stuff like that. And but that time, the economy was just died. You know, like everything we were going through, the housing
the
issues.
2008 housing bubble.
Yeah. So a lot of that happened right then and there. A lot of people lost their jobs. Nobody was looking for interns, and stuff like that. So couldn't get a job doing that. But I did get a job working for a call center. Did accounting for them. Did payroll for them. So that was kind of a nice experience that I got, here in Northern Colorado.
Yeah.
Eventually did move out to North Carolina. That's where I actually started home brewing. Moved back to Colorado, where I met Don. And Don was also home brewing in a homebrew club called the Liquid Poets. And the cool thing about the Liquid Poets is there have been 5 or 6 different breweries that have started from that club alone. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do you know which ones? Or?
Equinox, Pateros Creek, Funkworks, Grimm Brothers, Snowbank. I know I'm missing 1 or 2 out there.
Yeah. It's called Liquid Poets?
Liquid Poets,
So
yeah.
what is it?
It's a homebrew club. So it's basically guys will meet once a month at different locations. We actually have one here in Loveland as well called the Wise Guys. And I believe there's one in Greeley as well. But it's just homebrewers. That's how we started. We, brewing out of our bathtubs type of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's how actually when Don and I started, we started with Little Red Cap and Fearless Youth, which are our 2 most awarded beers. When we started, I would brew a batch, and he would like, you know what, I want to do this, but I want to do something else. Right. And I'd try his, and I really liked that, but I wanted to switch it off back and forth. We did that. We got Red Cap pretty quick, but Fearless Youth, we went back and forth a couple times, just tweaking little things here and there. So, which was nice because when we got to the big system, everything was a lot different. Dealing with the different engineering things and stuff like that. The beers weren't what we wanted, but we'd taste them so much that we knew exactly what the flavors were. And because we had adjusted things, here or there, we knew how to adjust those beers at that time. So, our first beers weren't the greatest, but we were able to get that flavor profile that we wanted and then be consistent with it as well.
Right. Little Red Cap, you still serve today. In fact, I have a flight in front of me, and I'm drinking it right now. It's your biggest flagship, right?
Yeah, she has won 4 out of the last 6 years at Great American Beer Festival.
Yeah.
In the alt category, she's also won at least once in the World Beer Cup, which is every 2 years.
Oh, dang.
So GABF is basically a Super Bowl for beers.
Yeah.
It's going to happen here in about a month or so down in Denver. You have about 4,000 beers and about just short of 2,000 breweries that show up.
That's cool.
So it's
that's the Great American Beer Fest, right? And they do that in the event center,
the
right?
convention center. Yep.
Yeah. I was looking at tickets for that, and I was like, man, I didn't realize how popular this got.
Yeah. You can usually you can get them from scalpers and stuff like that. But
oh, really?
Yeah. But it's definitely one of those bucket lists if you've never gone. If you like beer, I mean, you get overwhelmed very quickly because there's so much. Come with a game plan if you go to GABF. So
right. So is it like you buy a ticket and then it's unlimited beer all day, or
right? So they have hours that they have it from Thursday, Friday, and then 2 sessions on Saturday. So Northern Colorado actually does really, really well at GABF historically. With New Belgium and Odell.
Right.
Avery. We've got a lot. Left Hand's won a bunch as well. Northern Colorado actually really usually represents pretty well for GABF.
Yeah.
So.
And are you all going up there?
Yep. We'll have a booth. We'll have 4 beers that we'll be pouring out there as well. So.
Yeah. Do you usually throw out your flagships there or your side experiments? In
the past we have done. It just depends. This year we're doing 2 of our main lines, which is Red Cap and Fearless. And then we're also, this newcomer will be Maiden's Kiss, which is our Lemonade Radler, which is a German version of a shandy. And then we also have Farmer's Daughter, our Oktoberfest, which is that's actually what I'm drinking right now. It's one of my favorite beers. So
yeah, I have the Farmer's Daughter here.
Yep.
It's good. And then I have your cherry variant of the Maiden's Kiss, which is awesome.
Yeah.
This is like juice.
Yeah.
So, dang. All right, so you grew up in Brighton, which is North Denver, right?
Yeah, North Denver, close to DIA.
Oh, okay, right, off 85.
Yeah.
And then you come out of CSU, jobs are hard to come by, and you go to North Carolina, sorry, yeah.
Yep.
How'd that happen?
So, followed a girl, basically. The funny thing is, North Carolina at the time had a cap. They said you can't have a beer over 6% alcohol. And then there was this grassroots that wanted to change that.
Right.
My thing is, 90 shilling was my gateway beer. That's how I got into beer, and craft beer was 90 shillings. So I wanted to brew a 90 shillings clone. So we drove out to Charlotte, which was about 3 hours away from Raleigh, where I was living, and bought our first equipment. Bought two batches of beer, basically. Drove back. Later found out that there was another homebrew store that was 45 minutes away, so kind of wasted a little bit of time there. But my first batch I ever did, it was fantastic. Really, really good beer. I enjoyed it. Other people enjoyed it. Second batch, terrible. Just awful. Just...
What happened? You think? Just...
Don't know. So that's got me into being curious of what happened here. So I found there was a homebrew club that was pretty small in Raleigh, so I joined those up, met some people out of there. Learned how to all grain, do instead of doing partial mashes. And basically that's what got me into it. It's like cooking when you make a really good, lasagna, but then you don't make it again and it just doesn't fit or just isn't right. Okay, how do I do this? Let me try to experiment and make it exactly what I want. So,
what were you doing for money out there, or were you while you were...
I did a lot of HR stuff out there. I worked for a call center actually that did with HR, 401ks and pensions.
And you were just like starting to get this brew interest going.
Yeah. Yep.
You're really liking it. Did the law change in North Carolina?
It did about 6 months after I left North Carolina.
Oh,
they had the funny thing is that they changed it up to 14%, which meant that about 99% of the beers were available, but there was a bunch of other ones. Right. So they went again, and it took them another year or two to change it so that the cap was there was no cap. So then you could have some of those big beers.
So I'm from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I feel like I say that every podcast. They just went from a law where you couldn't refrigerate beer before sale.
Yeah.
It had to be 3-point if it was not in the liquor store. Whiskey and wine and nothing over 3-point could be in grocery stores. And now, by January 1st, all that's going away. And it's
2020.
Just whatever you want. And I heard that Colorado's doing something similar.
Yes. Yeah, 2020. So they... I don't know if this is a good or bad thing. This is definitely a huge interest in the brewing industry, but basically the grocery stores, right now they can only have one, a couple of years ago they could only have one liquor license. Mm-hmm. So if you went to a King Soopers or a Safeway, you had to go to that one specific one in order to get beer. The laws have changed over the next couple of years. They're able to get more, but they have to purchase them basically from like another liquor store or something like that. In 2020, that all goes away. All of them can serve beer at different liquor or grocery stores. Mm-hmm. The only problem that I have is, so Safeway and King Soopers, all of these guys are based not in Colorado. And right next to every Safeway is a liquor store.
Yeah.
So where's that money going to go? That liquor store, if you're buying all your stuff at King Soopers, you're not buying it to the local guy who lives here. He has to live here. That he's got his license here. That to me, all that money is now going out of state, which there's the argument for it. But then, too, now consumers are going to have better options. They're, that's going to help the bigger guys. So if you are in Belgium, but if you're small, like Grimm, we're going to have to fight, and, they're going to request that we get pallets, and then they're going to want a different, price off of what that is. But we'll see. I mean, it's, California's been doing it for years. Oregon's been doing it for years. Both of those states are huge in the beer, culture. So, I don't know.
Yeah, because a national distributor like King Soups would not, it'd be hard to convince Grimm Brothers. Hey, I know it's gonna be a pain, but make a local exception, distribute into these 10 stores. I'd never considered that. I'd always thought about like how it would impact liquor stores, but I'd never really thought about what it would do to breweries,
right?
And how
it's not going to affect the big guys, Wilbur's out of Fort Collins, Wyatt's and in Longmont, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Those guys will, they pretty much take everything. They're, they want to showcase a large variety. That's their whole thing,
right?
But it's that small mom and pop, place that I wonder how long they're going to last. So,
yeah.
What do you think though? Are you think that's a good thing, or are you excited from a consumer standpoint?
Selfishly, I have always said, Selfishly, I have always said that why. Okay, so alcohol has been a staple in our society for
the Egyptians.
Yeah, right. And there have been periods of time like Prohibition where people try to pretend like it wasn't, and I have never understood why you could sell a diluted version of something in a grocery store and not the full thing, or why we have to have separate stores for different products. I kind of get the mindset, but at the same time, I've always just wondered, like, why couldn't I go into a Kroger or a King Soopers and just buy booze? Just because I'm there getting lettuce and beef doesn't make me more likely to just crack open a bottle in the middle of the aisle and start chugging Jack Daniels.
Right.
Like, it's not a different person that walks into a liquor store.
Yeah.
But now that I'm sitting here thinking about places like Grimm Brothers and smaller breweries, I'm like, oh man, that's kind of a challenge. But on the flip side, I kind of feel like people are creatures of habit.
Right.
And I feel like people are so used to going to liquor stores that I think that's where they'll still go, especially if you want craft beer.
Right.
Like, if you're just throwing back Bud Light Limes on the weekends, you're already probably buying them at gas stations, and you're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I think the people who are out for the local stuff will still find it wherever they can get it.
Sure.
However that is.
Right.
Do you have people come in? Do you do like cans and bottles here on site?
Yep.
Do you have people just come in and buy like a shit ton and then leave?
Yeah, a couple. Yes, those are usually out of staters. So I'll get somebody
they'll
from.
Drive out of state?
I've got people who spent $300 on my beer before, and I'm giving them a free T-shirt or something like that. But most of the time, those are people who are who used to live in the community and then they moved away, or or they get beers from their buddies and they're out here visiting or whatnot. So and I think that's the big thing. Like, people. I meet people all the time from Chicago or from Oklahoma or wherever, and they're here for a beercation. They know they come to Northern Colorado because there's a lot per capita. Colorado's got one of the highest per capitas in the state,
right?
And then Northern Colorado, because of the breweries like Odell's and New Belgium and even H.C. Burger, who's long gone, like Fort Collins Brewery, stuff like that. People come out here because they know that Colorado is associated with beer.
Right. That's crazy that they would drive that far to come back. And it was that good when they lived here.
Right, yeah.
Dang, that's sweet. Seems like a random time, but I'm just thinking about people taking out cans seeing them, and it reminds me of your artwork.
Yeah.
So I've lived in Greeley for about 4 years, and the first time I came to Grimm Brothers was probably like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And the first thing that stuck out to me was your artwork.
Yeah.
How did you, like, who does that? How did you come across that?
We're the oldest brewery, or I should say oldest active brewery in Loveland.
Mm-hmm.
When we first started, there was Josh Emmerich is his name. He now lives in Indiana. I don't know if it's in, anyways. He had heard about us, and he says, hey, I'm looking to get into the industry. You guys are new. You're in my hometown of Loveland. How do I get involved with you? And so we talked to him, and he's like, well, what's your general idea? And we'd give him, like, basically drawings of what we were thinking for our marketing stuff, which looked like two schmucks had, with no marketing experience created. But he gave us 4 different ideas and we said, okay, well, we like this one the best. And he says, okay, I like that good, because that's my favorite too. And then he's like, I want to modify it just a little bit more. And so he actually created all the first, different ones that we had, which was, when we started, we had 3 beers that we wanted to do: Red Cap, Fearless Youth, and Snowdrop. Then we added Master Thief. And then ever since then, we've been adding a little bit more. Josh mostly does all of it, but now Josh has gotten big.
Yeah.
He does other breweries, Liquid Mechanics out of Lafayette. He's done some out in California. And now he wants a lot of money to do those labels. Luckily, we got in. He did ours for free, or actually, I think we did it for beer, basically. It was a nice little barter system. Yeah. Oh, no, we were giving him kegs and stuff like that. So yeah, but he's awesome. He's fantastic. One of the best illustrators, I think, out there.
Did he come up with that, like, it's kind of dark, but it's also like fairy tale-esque at the same time?
Yeah. So the cool thing about Grimm Brothers, when we first start with the name, we knew we wanted to do German style beers. Mm-hmm. The question was, how do we get that German feel to it with not having Hitler, World War II, World War I, any of that history stuff. So, let's keep going back further into history. And so the Grimm Brothers, with the fairy tales, was always a kind of a cool story. A lot of people don't know, the Grimm Brothers did 252 stories. So that's a lot of material. Right. Snowdrop is the original story of Snow White. Little Red Cap is Little Red Riding Hood. So they've got all of these different, characters in there. The one thing that we were really worried about was Disney coming after us. But talking to a lawyer, he was like, nope, that's eminent domain. And don't call it Snow White, call it Snowdrop, which is the original story anyways. Right. So that's how we always do our beers, basically. Not all of our names come from them, but the majority do. So it's kind of fun. That's
fascinating that Disney took from these stories, and you all were scared, but at the end of the day, it was like you both got inspiration from the same place. Oh yeah.
And if you read the stories, they are graphic. They are they are dark. They're not they're not the princess stories. They are very much like, okay, people are dying and things are happening. Right. One of my favorite stories actually is this. There's one guy. He basically marries. He's kind of crooked, but he marries one of the 3 sisters. And then she goes missing, so he marries the second one. She goes missing, so he marries the third one. And they're at his house, and he's like, well, whatever you do, don't go into that room. Of course, she goes into the room when he's gone, finds body parts of her sisters in there. So she puts her sisters back together, and then they go find him and kick his ass. So,
oh my god!
Yeah. So I mean, those
do you have
are
a beer
the
off
stories.
that one?
I don't yet. I'm saving that one. I'm waiting for the perfect beer in order to do that one. Yeah.
Damn. So a lot of them are like. They're not necessarily kids' tales. Yeah. Yeah. How long are them? How long are they, like?
Some of the stories are very, very short. They're only, there's one story. It's basically a page. It's not very long. And other ones are it's pretty long, pretty lengthy. So
yeah. One of the questions I had walked in here with was I was gonna ask you where you got the name, because anytime I tell people about Grimm Brothers, we don't know what the name is. Yeah. And I just looked on the website and I was like, oh, like
the fairy tale.
Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. Yeah. Like they did 250 short stories, and that's where you all got it. Yeah. Did you do a search to find them, or were you or Don already know about them?
Yeah, I didn't know that much about them other than what, the average person did until we started up Grimm, but I've read all the stories now, and I've got names for all of the, like, what's nice is we'll find, like, Big Bad Wolf is the villain of Little Red Cap, so we've got a stronger version of Red Cap. So the stories, I don't, it's not like I have to look for all of these ones. I have multiple names that we can kind of use them, so... which is kind of fun too, because we can get creative, and sometimes the beer will inspire the name, but other times it's the opposite. So one of our beers that we do, one of my favorites, is a smoked porter. We call it the Owl. So in the story, there was this mythical creature that the people didn't know about was in the barn. And so they would go in there and they would say, are you a demon? What are you? And it would respond, hoo hoo, hoo hoo. And so they would all leave, they'd all freak out. So they would go back and forth, and they didn't know what this creature is. So what they decided to do was burn down the barn. And ever since they burned down that barn, the woods has been been cursed ever since. So an owl always comes out. So for smoked porter and the burned barn works out really, really well. So those are some of those stories. You read it and you're like, I know exactly what I want to do. And other ones are it's I've got a beer and I got to figure out the story that would work with it.
Right.
So.
Which do you think is harder?
I don't. They're fun,
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, we get everybody involved with them too. We have True Bride on right now, which is actually our third version of the beer. And True Bride, basically, when anybody gets married within the brewery, they brew the beer itself. They come up with the recipe there, or with help if they don't know that. So we have Don. He just got married. So we have our Pilsner True Bride on. It's our third version. We've had Jenna had a blueberry sour that we had, and then Trevor had I think it was a stout or something like that he created. But
that's so cool. And then they were like, what, serve it at their wedding? Or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Don got married, and we had that beer available up there. So
that's so cool.
Yeah,
it's like a way it's like something that everyone that you work with is in on. And
we're pretty small. We only have about 12 employees.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
dang.
So, but I mean, that's kind of nice too, is because we see each other on a regular basis. Everybody gets involved with it, no matter what.
Right.
So, if Robin, for instance, has an idea of whatever, great. Let's. What can we do to get this working? So.
Right. Yeah. Admittedly, when I first came to Grimm Brothers, and even until like a week ago, I kind of just assumed that you all would make a new beer, and then you would think of like some type of fairy tale-esque thing to call it.
Yeah. And
now it's so fascinating for me to be like, oh wait, like Disney got fairy tales from these two authors, and you all got the stories, and it's just super cool. It's like, I don't know, I'm ignorant probably, but I don't know of another brewery that like has backstories and artwork.
I would say most of them do. You just got to figure out that story, because I mean, a lot of the stuff too, like different beers that we have on, Maiden's Kiss has a kiss of lemonade in it, and that was something that Scott. We actually changed the recipe. It was a different beer until this last year. And with that change, it's gotten more popular with it. And so that was something that our sales guy, Scott, he was the one who actually came up with the idea. And we said, okay, let's run with this. Let's give it a try,
Right.
And it's been one of our most popular beers this summer. So,
how often do you put out new stuff?
Probably once every 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah. With us, that's about normal with the 15 barrels. But there are other breweries who have, they try to come out with new beers. There's one brewery in particular, they want to try 100 new releases this year. So they're every weekend they've got a new beer. Yeah.
I know WeldWorks in Greeley.
Yeah,
it's like, they've got to have a mad scientist back there that's like, Berliner Weiss? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
All right, I got 30 variants of that. Here they come.
Yeah.
It's like, every time I go in there, it's a brand new menu, and it's like 10 flavors of the thing that I was in there to try last time. I'm like, holy shit, what's going on in here?
Yeah, those guys are pretty good.
So if you're putting out stuff every 2 weeks, and are they all based on one of the Grimm Brothers stories?
Like, for the majority, Well, I've got titles all up and down that we can tie to or use. So usually when we come up with a new beer, we have that concept, we have the idea of what it is, and I'm usually the one who basically comes up with the names of the beers and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
not always. A lot of times, sometimes, other people will be like, this is, I love this name. Can we do this? And sounds great. Let's go with it.
Right. How many flagships do y'all have?
We have 4 right now. We have Snowdrop, Little Red Cap, Fearless Youth, and Blood Orange Griffin, Hefeweizen.
Okay. So, how do you all decide what becomes a flagship and what doesn't?
Mostly sales is the dependent factor on that one.
Yeah.
So we have 4 main lines, but we also have 3 seasonal beers. So our seasonals is Farmer's Daughter, the Oktoberfest.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, so that one, I mean, people look forward to that one when it comes out. It's a fantastic beer, and it's perfect for this season. So
yeah,
nobody wants an Oktoberfest in December, so we don't do that one.
Yeah,
but we do have, so Maiden's Kiss is our summer. We have a winter one called Bleeding Heart, which is an association with the Loveland, the official Sweetheart City.
Yeah.
So
right.
So we have worked with the city a lot in working with them. We're trying to expand that actually even more and get all the breweries involved with Bleeding Heart, trying to do something with them and see if we can't even blow that up even more. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Like taking that name and making it mean more than just what you came up with.
Yeah. That's what's nice about the brewing industry is that most everybody pretty much gets along. We try to do different things. Like, their customers are my customers, Mm-hmm. So we see usually the same people who want to support everybody.
Right.
So when, like, for instance, we've had 2 new breweries that opened up. Like I saw Josh at Verboten Brewing Company downtown. Mm-hmm. He was at their release, their grand opening and stuff like that. So it's nice to see a community, even though we are, competitors. It's nice to see everybody kind of work with each other and
So if there's 2 brewers that end up seeing each other in a third brewery, it's not like 2 spies that like double cross each other.
Yeah.
It's like, it's normal. It's like, what is that saying?
I visit
like
all the breweries all the time, and
yeah,
people always are like, "What are you doing here?" Same thing you are, enjoying good beer. You
right?
know?
Yeah, like as a saying, high tide raises all ships.
Yeah, yep.
Like it brings everybody up, and the amount of people that are moving in, like it allows everybody to rise.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are appreciating breweries more. I already like get the beer snob vibe anytime I tell people back home, like, what I've been drinking. So, but
Oklahoma's starting to be that way too. They're starting to really grow and get some better breweries out there.
I was just home visiting last week, and because of the new liquor laws, there's been like at least 8 breweries open in Tulsa.
Yeah.
I grew up just north of Tulsa.
Nice.
In the last 6 months. And one of them I went to specifically back in July. And I just thought, am I in Boulder? Because the descriptions for the beer was like, this beer is like when you put on too much sun lotion at the pool and you're hanging out with your best friend. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? Like, I don't even know what kind of beer this is. Like, am I in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was funny, but at the same time, it was cool because moving out here, going to a place that made the beer that I was about to enjoy was unheard of. I had never done that before. And that was back in 2014.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see it taking off back home. Because, I knew it was big when I got here. So, it's neat to see.
Yeah.
Have you seen it grow at much since 2010?
Oh, very much so. Yep. Well, not only the amount of breweries, but so when we first came in, the Brewers Association, which is actually based out of Boulder, they are the big name of any type of legal, both locally as well as nationally.
Yeah.
But anyways, they had kept saying, like, at the time, I think we were close around 9 or 10% growth, just growth. So when we went out to get investors and try to get money, basically, that's what we said. We didn't want 1% of the market, and just saying northern Colorado, we said we wanted 1% of the growing market. So that was one of the things that was really nice. And so about 3 or 4 years ago, we topped out about like 16 or 17% growth. And with the new breweries, with that growth, of course, bring more competition, more breweries are entering. But now we're starting to see it decline. It's getting closer to about like 10%, 9%, somewhere around there. I'm guessing at GABF they'll tell us it's even lower this year.
Yeah.
But with that, you're also starting to see some of the breweries close as well.
Oh, really?
So, so there's some of the issues that which is, I mean, either it's bad beer or it's bad, running of the business type of thing. Whatever the situation is, there is a potential. So I foresee that could also continue to do it. You're going to see some of these guys who are not doing as well.
Yeah.
Get out of the business or whatever. So
it's interesting you say that. Living in Greeley, there are definitely tones with people about certain breweries, and they kind of go with ebbs and flows, and some breweries end up having like crazy streaks where they're awesome. Some of them have like these zones where people are like, I'm not really feeling the brewery anymore. That's interesting. I guess I kind of thought that the influx of people moving to Colorado, plus like the brewery culture, was enough to sustain an infinite amount of people, but that's probably not true.
There's argument. When Odell Brewing Company, she always uses the wine. If you look at wineries, how many wineries are out there, and look at how well they're spread out and distributed and whatnot. And so she thinks that we don't even come close to having enough breweries. I think it's somewhere in between. I think that we can continue to grow, but I think it has to be like the new breweries, especially. They have to be smart on how they do it. So. Right.
Or we just got to start running ad campaigns and convince people to drink more.
Yeah.
No, you need 2 beers after work every day. So I meant to ask this earlier, but I forgot. Did you ever get so you've spoken to you said it's a woman who runs Odell?
Doug Odell and Wynn are married.
Oh, okay.
So that's Doug's wife.
So it's a couple that runs Odell.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get a chance to tell them that their beer, 90 Shilling, was like your inspiration?
Yep.
What was that like?
That was awesome. Actually, we did a soft opening and we invited everybody, including Doug Odell and his wife. And they came down. I was a little surprised that they would come down and see our new brewery. But yeah, Doug was, I got to talk to him and he was just telling me like, this reminds me of 1989 when we opened our brewery, and he has this yellow Subaru so he would brew all day, and then he put it in the back of his truck, and he would drive the beer to wherever it needed to go, and then he'd come back, and people would come to his brewery and be like, hey, well, where can I get your beer? And he's like, well, it's at this place, it's at this place. Well, yeah, but they only have one beer. I want to try all your beers. So that was the new concept back in 1989. There was no such thing as a tap room. So I give a lot of credit to the guys, Jeff at New Belgium and Sandy Jones at HC Burger. Those guys did a lot to pave the way. Jason Bowser is he really helped me out as well. So Jason was the taproom manager of Odell's. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to him like, hey, we're starting up the brewery. We're doing all this. It took us about 2 to 3 years to get the brewery going. And he just gave us a wealth of information, with taproom and tap systems. And now Jason actually is co-owner of Verboten Brewing Company. So it's kind of cool to see all these people kind of recycling, getting into it. So, but yeah, it's a great community. Doug, he suggested different things. Actually, one of my favorite stories when we first started was we had contacted this guy. We needed kegs, and in order to do that, we were going to do a lease. So we were going to lease to own it, basically. Mm-hmm. So this we're opening up on Saturday. We call him on Monday. He's like, yeah, I'll have those kegs for you, no problem. So Monday goes by, no problem. We call him again on Tuesday. He's like, yeah, I'm in Grand Junction. I'll be there tomorrow, if not the day after. No problem. Wednesday, where you at, man? We're expecting you. Oh, I'm in Denver. I'll be there tomorrow. Thursday, man, I got people coming on Saturday. I need those kegs. I need those kegs. So end of Thursday, he's still not there, and he will not pick up the phone. So we're freaking out. So what we do is we contact Odell's, and we contacted New Belgium. We said, hey, I've got 13 kegs that I own. That's all I got. Can I borrow some kegs from you, or can I rent some kegs for you? Yeah. And they said, nope, here you go. Just one, don't make sure they never get out, because I don't want to get that confusion if it's your beer or my beer. And then 2, just clean them and return them back to us, and we won't charge you. So sure enough, I got 20 kegs from New Belgium. I got 30 kegs from Odell. we sold those 13 beers out in the field. I was able to deliver those. And we went through about 20 beers on our grand opening. So without Odell's and without New Belgium, I wouldn't be, like our grand opening. We would have had to close early for our grand opening. So I appreciate, that's not something you see in any other industry. That is something that you see in the beer industry where people try to help each other out. So
yeah. So it was filled with their beer?
No, so they had empty kegs.
Oh, they were empty kegs.
And I put my beer into their empty kegs, served it in my tap room.
Right.
And that way I was able to serve and still then be able to sell out, only to 13 accounts, but I was able to use my beer and still be able to do that. If I didn't have that, since we went through 20 kegs, I would have ran out of beer during my grand opening.
Right. Yeah, and in a bunch of other industries.
Yeah.
Top businesses would, seem like a dangerous idea to donate and help out someone on a grand opening. Right. It's just going to mean little less business.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Because it's funny, sometimes people think of smaller breweries in Colorado as like a separate entity from the monolith New Belgium. But it's super cool and refreshing, honestly, to hear that everyone works together. And it becomes a community, and like Verboten starts up because they worked at New Belgium, and dang, that's like super cool.
Yeah, the beer it forward basically is the
beer it forward.
Yeah, pay it forward. So I get a lot of people who ask, hey, how did you do this? How did you start that? A buddy of mine who used to live in Greeley is now down in Colorado Springs. He's opened up a brewery down there, and I get random texts from him, all types of, like 2 o'clock in the evening. Hey, what about this? Well, this is what we did, but figure it out. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Dang, have you been to Bristol Brewing down there?
Yeah.
In the old high school?
Oh, yeah.
My mind was split in half. The first time I went there, I was like, holy shit. Like, they turned, like, the principal's office into a bakery, and they had, like, a coffee shop there. Oh, man, that was...
See, in Bristol, again, I mean, they've been around for a long time, but they have helped out all the other smaller breweries around them. Yeah. So, just like you said, like, if you can get everybody to, work together and kind of work with each other, it helps out everybody.
Right.
We do a lot of collaboration. I've got a beer on right now that we did a collaboration with Verboten and Crow Hop. It was brewed on Verboten's system, but it was made for the food bank for Larimer County. So Larimer County, the food bank just got a new warehouse location out by the airport, and to kick it off, and also another fundraiser, we donated the beer to them, and then they sold their beer to us and Crow Hop, and so all 3 locations we have Fruit for the People, which is that apricot blonde that we have on draft right now. So
right, I don't think I got that in my
in your tasters.
Right. Did you want another beer?
You want to take a break? Yeah, sounds like a good time.
We can absolutely do that. let the lead brewer here get himself another beer. Okay, so I got this apricot blonde. So this was one of the ones you'd mentioned before?
Yep, this is the collaboration with Verboten and Crow Hop for the food bank for Larimer County.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So when you say for the food bank, it's like, do you take a part of your sales and donate it, or?
This one, what we did is they had a fundraiser event to kick off the warehouse. So we brought a keg out to that and donated that to food bank, so... we do actually. All the breweries get really, really heavily involved with a lot of charities and stuff like that.
Right.
In the past, we've done a beer festival called. But it's at Food Bank. We actually held it at Food Bank.
Right.
And it was a rally truck type of event. So we had food trucks, we had breweries and stuff like that. And basically, all the breweries will donate all of their kegs. And then the charity gets all that money. So we get really, really involved with a lot of different charities and 5013Cs and different things like that.
Yeah.
This year, actually, we are going to our Oktoberfest, which is usually held here. Our spot is a little bit too small. This thing's outgrown. But we're going to have that with Kiwanis, which is a non-for-profit, helping out kids and stuff like that. So we're going to hold that at 1015 South Lincoln Avenue in Loveland. We'll have all the breweries out there. We're going to have even Climb Hard the Cidery. We were a little bit late on getting everything for the wineries and the distilleries, but I'm hoping next year that we can get them involved as well. But it's Oktoberfest. It's the, big party.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yeah, this is awesome. In fact, all these have been good. What is the story behind the Ballandary sword?
Ballandary swords.
Ballandary sword.
Yes. So, one of my brewers here is starting his own meadery called Laughing Leprechaun.
That's cool.
So, yeah, meadery is honey wine. And so we've done, this is our well, it's actually our third beer overall, but our second style. This is a blackberry braggot. Braggot is a blend between mead and beer. So basically it's a beer, but with a lot of honey into it. So,
right.
But anyways, he's looking to start up, hopefully downtown. But there's actually, he'll be the second meadery actually opening up in Loveland, so it's kind of nice, even cross promotional with different alcohols and stuff like that even. So
yeah, no, that Ballandary sword was awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something.
Oh, but the story behind Ballandary, that's one of the things I love about Grimm is I can tell, I'm a history minor. I love history. Right. So that's one of the things. I can tell you a story, and that's what history is all about, stories. So I can tell you a story about what the beer is, but I can also tell you the story about what the Grimm Brother fairy tale is. So Ballandary sword, which is not actually tied to a Grimm Brother story. But what it is tied to is that there was this legendary sword. It's big, it's well known. It was made in Germany, but eventually it made its way up into Ireland, where the hilt was actually made. And so that's Ballandary sword is kind of a nice cross between Laughing Leprechaun, where he's keeping more of that Irish feel to it, and Grimm Brothers with the German feel to it. So it's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Our first beer that we did was called Queen Bee. And actually, we had to get permission to use it because there's a winery or a meadery down in Denver called Queen Bee. But Queen Bee is also one of the stories of the Grimm Brother fairy tales as well. Right. So that's one of our braggots that we've done before in the past. And I'm hoping we can rebrew that and enter that into the, there's a mead festival as well. And I want to be able to showcase that and have that braggot compete in the mead competition and see how well it does. So
that's cool. It seems like more often now than used to be, brewers will collaborate. How does that start? You just like hanging out and let's do a beer together.
Pretty much. Any type of collaboration really is. It can be as simple as, it's more of a marketing thing, or it can be a little bit more complex. Usually with us, we'll sit down with the other breweries over a beer and just be like, hey, we want to do this, what do you think? Do you think we should do this? Do you think we should add that? But, we're working on one with Crow Hop right now. We're going to do a Brut IPA. That's going to be better than Verboten's Brut IPA. But anyways, we're working on that one and trying to brew something for that and have it different. But really, it's somebody reaching out and just saying, hey, I'm interested.
Right.
We did one last year with Neshaminy Creek out of Pennsylvania, out of Philadelphia, basically. They loved our German style beers. They also do German style. So the head brewer was like, hey, I'm coming out for GABF. I'm coming out this day. Can we come out there and do collaboration beer?
Do something.
Yeah.
Right.
Brewing's kind of a one-man job, really. Like the whole brewing process, usually it's one person. I mean, you can get two people, but realistically it's a one-man job. Yeah. So when you do the collaborations, it's me standing around with somebody else and drinking a beer while one person works the whole time. So collaborations are kind of, they're fun.
Yeah. And it's like basically coming up with the ingredients and the process and the timing. And then one person has to do the act, like carry out the plan.
Pretty much. I mean, we'll help out as much as we can, but it's
right.
Realistically, it's one guy doing it. It's more marketing, but it is still fun. I mean, there are collaborations where everybody does get involved, and it's I know in Fort Collins back in the day they used to do they would get the breweries. Every single brewery would do a collaboration with two other breweries. And so they would come on and they would say, okay, well, our brewery does this, so we're going to add this, flavor profile. And our brewery does this, so we're going to add this flavor profile. So,
right.
It's kind of interesting.
Dang. From an outsider, it seems so metaphysical.
Yeah.
You all are like sharing beers, you're sitting at a table, you're talking about future beer you're going to make.
Yeah.
It's like a meeting of the beer mind.
Yeah.
It's just,
Usually it's over a beer, though. That's always the constant. You got to sit down and over a beer and be like, okay, what do we want to do? So.
Well, it's funny, for this podcast, you're the second brewer for me to interview, and I think I need to interview more brewers because we drink beer tonight. But like, I interviewed Danielle Bach. She's a nutrition services director for Greeley Schools. Yeah. And
probably beer's not on the menu for that.
No, we were at an administration building. Yeah. And it had a different vibe to it, and I told her that I had brewers coming up on the interview chain, and she was like, "Well, we should have done this at a brewery. Right? We could have had a beer." Yeah. I was like, "Maybe there's something to that. Right. I don't know." So, I had meant to ask earlier. So you're in North Carolina. You're working at this call center, doing HR during the day. You're home brewing at night. How do you go back home? How do you get back to Northern Colorado?
North Carolina was fine. I just didn't like the weather. It just didn't fit. Basically, the girl I was with, she got a degree at North Carolina at NC State. Mm-hmm. She got a job back at CSU, which that brought me back home to Colorado, which I love Colorado. It's an awesome state. I grew up here and love the mountains, love everything. So
right. And was she from Colorado as well?
She's from South Dakota. I met her through at CSU. So. Oh,
right. So CSU is what you had in common.
Yeah.
Did things end up working out? Or
No, unfortunately not. But it's so one thing that is kind of funny though is Don's a CU graduate, and so every time for the Rocky Mountain Showdown, we put a beer. Want a good cellared beer, something that's going to, pretty costly or whatever. And then whoever wins that bottle, but we open up both of the beers and then we drink those beers. So you just bring a bottle and we share it at the end of it. So, but there's always bragging rights. Unfortunately, he usually wins those because CSU's not winning all the time, but
right.
It's fun.
Right.
At least we can beat UNC, right? Well, I think the Rams got kind of lucky last time when Slaughter played them. So
yeah, man, it's so interesting to me how different the three universities are, and they're all an hour from each other.
Yeah,
yeah. I was gonna say, being a Colorado native,
yes,
and especially one who has moved away and came back. How do you feel about this constant influx of people that are pouring into the state now?
It's nice. I think it's kind of cool to have. I mean, it's a different change. Fort Collins, when I graduated in 2001, is a completely different city. It's a lot more populated, and Fort Collins has not been able to. I mean, they're growing up, so I think it's fine. It's bringing people in here. There's a reason why people are moving to Colorado.
Right.
It's a great place to live, especially in northern Colorado.
Yeah.
You get nice weather. 300 days of sunshine. Colorado is just
right.
It's bringing money in, and really, if you look at it, the cities. Whenever you ever talk to the cities, that's kind of their concept, or at least the city of Loveland. When they're trying to encourage people, they want people to come in and visit, and they want people to come here and live, and then they want them, to live,
right.
Because there's the economy. They're encouraging the economy. So when we're getting more and more money in, we can build everything more to allow more people in, which can encourage more people to come and visit. So I think it's great. There's little traffic and stuff like that.
Right. I-25, don't get me started.
Oh yeah. They've been talking about change. I mean, they were supposed to switch that over by 2020. They're supposed to have that by 3 lanes, but maybe by 2020 they need 4 lanes. Who knows?
Yeah, it'll be all the way from Denver to FOCO if I read that right from DOT.
Yeah.
Can't come soon enough, man.
Well, I'll tell you, even during that when we went through that recession, back in 2000 or so, Colorado didn't get hit nowhere near as some of the other, states and stuff like that. So, we just got a great economy out here and good people.
Why do you think that is? You think it's more like community driven? Everyone's supporting each other? Or?
Yeah, I'm not. That's a good question. I'm not really sure, but that's probably. I mean, it's a great place to go. I mean, people are coming into the state of Colorado all the time. So
yeah. I feel like I meet people more often these days that weren't born here. I mean, including myself.
Yeah.
Than I do people who were born here.
What do you think of the people who've got the native stickers on the back of there?
Oh my god! Okay, I knew this was coming up.
Yeah, I don't have one. I just want to say I do not have one. You're more than welcome to come to the state of Colorado. That's
okay. I will say, it is funny to me because before I started this podcast, I knew that eventually, at some point, people would say, what does a guy not from Colorado, what does he have to say about Northern Colorado, not being from here? And I always knew, like, the native angle may come up eventually.
Yeah.
I will say, when I first moved here, I didn't have to get my new license for like 6 months, and I got it right away.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be that person driving around with I came from Dallas, so I had a Texas tag.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be that guy driving around Greeley with a Texas tag.
Right.
So I changed that shit immediately because I wanted to fit in.
Right.
And then, I just kind of got this this vibe that people were super proud to be native.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess my first question to them is, native. Like, are you Native American?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So you've been here.
Native,
your family's kind of been on the land for like thousands of years.
Right.
Most often, the answer to that is no.
Yeah.
My grandparents moved here, or my parents moved here. It's like, oh, okay, so you were just lucky enough to be born to a couple who was in Colorado 40 years before me, Like, assuming I stay in Colorado, if I have kids, they'll be natives.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's like a difference of 1, 2, 3, or 4 generations.
Yeah.
But despite the native sticker, I feel like everybody I talk to who's from Colorado, they'll make jokes about it, but they're not serious. There's not like a serious harboring of feelings about it. So it makes me wonder, like...
It's more of a joke, I think, than anything else, like...
Yeah, like people who put native on, like the native sticker on their car, I think if you talk to them, they maybe think it was a joke.
Yeah.
Or, like, I don't think people take it that seriously.
Oh, no.
I will say, it's kind of crazy. I worked for the town of Windsor. I did, like, trail maintenance over the summer.
Yeah.
And my boss was born and raised in Windsor. He's lived there his whole life, basically. He lives in Fort Collins, but he's worked there his whole life. And he said the town of Windsor, in the next 10 years, will double in size. They have housing projects that aim to double the population in a decade.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
Like,
well, Fort Collins is definitely trying to regress their building. So the only way, and people are coming no matter what. Right. So which is either your housing costs are going to go way beyond too expensive, or you're going to have to find bedroom communities. Windsor, they're building that huge park out there. We're going to be one of the biggest parks out, for like baseball and stuff like that. They want to get a minor league team up there.
Right.
I think that's awesome. I love going to the Eagles game, watching hockey up here. Now that they're officially under the Avalanche too, I'm even more excited. If I can get a minor league team here too, that's just going to be even cooler to live in Northern Colorado. So yeah.
So the Eagles feed the Avs.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know that.
Well, this year they're going to be doing that.
Did they used to feed another team?
I think they fed a few teams actually.
Right.
So they were part of the ECH, I think, is what league they were in. But now they started off kind of in the bottom, and at the time the games were more bloodbath than anything else. Mm-hmm. But as they've gone and they've gotten better and better talent, and they've gone from better to better leagues, the gameplay is significantly better. You can see these guys really hustle and play. So
you're not the first person to tell me I should go to an Eagles game.
It's totally worth it. Tickets are cheap. There's not a bad seat in the house.
Yeah, it's like $15. I saw at the Budweiser Center, right?
Yeah,
yeah, it's right off 25.
Yeah. You go to an Avs game, you're going to spend $60, and you're going to be like, I can't see anything. I'm just watching TV the whole time. Well, I could stay at home and do that. So.
I should check out an Eagles game. Yeah, that's. I never knew what it was. It's funny. If someone, I thought about this earlier. If someone came to Northern Colorado or Colorado in general, they'd think that the names of breweries were sports teams. The way that people wear brewery stuff, like no one walks around some states, but there are many states in the United States where people don't walk around with brewery hats, shirts, fucking pants. There's so many things. Like a quarter of the people at the gym that I go to in Greeley have like Wiley Roots on their shirts, and it's like you would think that was a B-League sports team.
I kind of see it more like a concert. I went to that concert, so therefore I've got that T-shirt. I went to that brewery, I got that T-shirt at that brewery. It kind of shows that where your support is. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
I will say, when I moved here in 2014, we had just unloaded the U-Haul. I was sweaty as shit. I wanted a beer. And the first place I went to in Colorado was Wiley Roots. It's like a brewery was my welcoming spot.
Yeah. That even that whole history of that location. You know, Crabtree used to be at that location.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Crabtree moved, I think. I don't know when they moved, but they have, before they moved to the new location. Yeah. And I always joke because it literally is on the wrong side of the tracks, you know?
Right.
But that they do some fantastic beers out there, slushy beers. What the heck is a slushy beer?
I just saw them on Denver News for having slushy machines. Yeah. The wrong side of the tracks is definitely something that comes up a lot when you talk about Greeley. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh man, I'm kind of a Greeley advocate. I'm like, hey man, don't, you know, how many hours of your life have you actually spent in Greeley? Yeah. Like, you know, don't judge it too much. Yeah. And I will say, since I moved there in 2014, downtown is like revamped. Yeah. There's so many new places coming in, and
so that's economy. Why are we revamping downtown? Why are we growing? Same thing with Loveland. We're putting in that huge, you know, area in there because people are coming into here. There's money that's pouring into the state. Well, there's a reason why is either due to tourism or we now have more houses here. Right. So that's when you're saying about, like, I appreciate you coming from Oklahoma and living here because you're going to provide services which provides money for the economy and everything grows based off of that one. So
yeah. Oh man, I last time I was in Loveland, I went to Mobetta Gumbo. It was my first time. And I saw that they're building like 3-story apartments right across the street. And there's a rooftop bar. Yeah. And I was like, where am I? You know, like that wasn't there a year ago.
Right. Well, 2010 when we started up here, we had mostly antique stores. In town, and now all of a sudden those antique stores get replaced by either bars or breweries or restaurants.
Right.
Fantastic. Bring people downtown. I mean, that's what we're trying to... I mean, look at Fort Collins. They're doing the same thing. They've got everything downtown already set up for it, so...
Yeah, last summer I worked for a local flower distributor who worked out of Home Depot's, and I rotated on the stores in northern Colorado, and the Loveland store was notorious for retired elderly people being at the store, so... looks like my laptop's about to die, and we're at about an hour, so...
all right.
Yeah, I think we will wrap this up. I guess one last thing besides the brewery culture, what is something that you love about northern Colorado?
Oh, the mountains by far. Just going up to the hills, Estes Park. I mean, sometimes it can be a tourist trap, but just it's great. You've got... the people are just really, really cool back here, too. It's just awesome to be in northern Colorado. So
right. I couldn't agree more. You heard it here, folks. Aaron Heaton, Grimm Brothers. Come check it out. Hear some of his stories.
Yeah.
Sweet as shit.
I want to say a very special thanks to Russell Isaac Long, the man responsible for writing and mixing all the music tracks used here at the More You NoCo. If you'd like to access any content in addition to these episodes, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The More You NoCo. If you have ideas for people you'd like to hear on the show, hit us up at the email themoreyouKnoco@gmail.com. Until next time, peace!